I want to show you how you can create a recurring invoice in ZohoBooks. So a recurring invoice is one that just automatically creates on a specified date or at a specified frequency. So to do this, there are two different ways you can do it, but you're going to come over to sales. Now you can turn an existing invoice into a recurring one, or you could come over to recurring invoices and create one from scratch. Now, once you're over here in recurring invoices, you're going to click on new, and you're going to choose your customer. Perfect. Now, once this is done, you're going to give it a profile name. Now, your profile name can describe the exact service or the exact project that is recurring. And note that you cannot use the same profile name twice. So if you give this Lily social media management, you would not be able to create a new invoice or a new recurring invoice and give it that same name. So that's just something to keep in mind. So I'm going to call this Lily social media management for August, from August 2024. Now you can give it an order number. And then this is where you start setting the details of how the invoice will recur, right? How often is this invoice going to be repeated? Is it a weekly invoice? Is it a monthly invoice? What is the frequency? You have different options, and you can also set a custom period. But I'm going to set this for monthly, right? So it's going to repeat every month. Now, when does your invoice date start? Does it start today? That is the day you're creating the invoice, and then it repeats every day, 1 month from today. So today is the 18th of August. Does it start today on the 18th of August and repeat every 18th of the month? If that's the case, then you can leave it like this, but just ensure you choose the correct start date, because the invoice will be created depending on the dates that you put. Now, when does your invoice end? Is it an open-ended invoice that just never ends until you stop it? Or does it end on a specific day based on the project you're handling? So let's imagine that I'm handling Lily's social media management and marketing until December 18th. So I'm going to put that it will end on December 18th. Good. Now I've set that. Now, how about the payment terms? When is this invoice due? Is it due immediately it is received? Is it due in 2 days? Is it due in 15 days? You can go ahead and set this up. So you can choose the specific due date that you want. I'm going to leave it at due on receipt. But you have other options here that you can choose from. Now you can add a salesperson if there's a specific salesperson assigned to this client. You can also add a subject to tell your client what this invoice is for. SMM services. Let me say done for you SMM services. And then you can go ahead to fill in the details of your invoice, where you put each item, the service you'll be offering or the products to be delivered, the quantity, the rate, any discounts that apply, and so on. So let me do that quickly. Done for you social media management. Let's say the name of the package purchased is the exclusive package. Good. And then I'm going to set the rate. Good. And once that's done, you can review everything. You can add a note for the customer, which will show on every invoice. You can also add terms and conditions, which will show, right? They will be displayed. So you can put payment options, how the invoice can be paid, and so on. And once this is done, you can go ahead and click on save. Good. Now your recurring invoice has been created, and let's look at some of the important details of this. So the profile status is showing as active. The start date is 18th August. The end date is 18th December. The remaining billing cycle is 4. So for September, October, November, and December. So 4 more invoices will be created. The payment term is due on receipt, and the manually created invoice is 1. So it's also showing here that the next invoice date is on the 18th of September, right? So you can see the invoice that has been created. I clicked on it, and it's currently in draft. So you can go ahead and mark this as sent. Good. So now we've marked the invoice as sent, is due today. Let's go back to recurring invoices. Good. So you can see it once again, your recurring invoice has been created. You've sent this invoice now to the client. So the next invoice date on 18th September, your invoice will automatically be created and it will be saved as a draft. So you can go ahead and mark it as sent, or if the client's email is added in the customer profile, you can set it for the invoice to be sent automatically to the client. You can view the next invoice by coming over here, click on next invoice, and then it's going to show, right? So this is on the 18th of September invoice date. You can see it here, is going to be sent to the client. The other way you can create a recurring invoice is by taking an existing invoice and making it recur. So don't worry, I'm going to show you how. You're going to come over to invoices. Good. And then you're going to choose any invoice. So let's choose this one, which was paid, or no, let's choose this one by another customer, Brian. So let's click on it. So this invoice is one that is not yet due. It has not yet been paid. But let's say this is a recurring project and we want to ensure that the invoice just keeps being created. You're going to come over here to these 3 dots, and then you would see make recurring, and you're going to click on that. Good. So now you're going to go ahead and follow a similar process. You create a profile name for the client and all that. And then you set your frequency. Repeats every month. Starts on now. Remember that there is an existing invoice for this client that has not been paid, and it was sent on the 18th of August. So you don't want your recurring invoice to start today, otherwise it will create another invoice, right, with the same date. So now you're going to choose for it to start the next month, which is September 18th. And then you can set an end date or leave it on never expires. So until you pause it or you stop the recurring invoice, the invoices will just keep being created and sent. And then you can add a salesperson. You can come in here and change your subject, but all the details from the previous invoice are already here, which makes things easier. So once you're done, you can go ahead and save this recurring invoice. Good, and it has been created. So the start date is on the 18th of September, and that is when the next invoice will be created. So you can actually set up recurring invoices to just create if you know you're working long-term with a client, or you're delivering products to a customer or supplying to a vendor at a specified frequency. It makes things easier for you. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. You can also check out this playlist where I've broken down different features of ZohoBooks and how you can use it for your bookkeeping and business accounting. I'll see you in the next video.